Hey, welcome to a new episode of White Heat presented by Godzilla Media. And before we get into all the formal introductions, we want to talk to you again about Mohawk Honda. Our friends over at Freeman's Bridge Road in the Scotia Glenville area of upstate New York. Current supply and demand challenges, man. They're crazy in the auto industry. They have been for a while now, ever since things started to open back up from the COVID-19 pandemic, which means it's a perfect time for you to get top dollar on your vehicle, especially with the new offer being done right now at Mohawk Honda. It's called the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. It basically is what it sounds like. You show up with your used vehicle, Mohawk Honda is going to put cash in hand. No need to wait around. No need to wait 3 to 5 business days. Same day you're there, cash in hand. And you don't have to turn around and use that cash to buy a vehicle from them. It's a pretty sweet deal. I mean, especially if you're, say, a recent college grad that's just looking to pay off some student loans, or maybe you're a current student and need a new ride, or you just want the cash flat out. It's a pretty damn good deal. And Mohawk Honda, if you're going to turn that cash around to a new vehicle, they always have a consistently full lot stocked with hundreds of certified pre-owned vehicles. And of course, as we talked about before, they're all going to be about fulfilling the needs and wants that you need in your life with whatever vehicle you're looking to choose from their large inventory, which makes shopping fun, as you can browse all their makes and models right there at the lot, or you can even look ahead of time online, which also has their full selection. You can stop by and say hi to a bunch of different dudes and gals that we associate ourselves with at Mohawk Honda, whether it be Greg Johnson, the assistant GM, Jake Hot Sauce Doyle, Louis the VIP Man Morales from right here in Amsterdam where I am, or any of the other helpful sales consultants over there at Mohawk Honda. The time is now to take advantage of the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer and the vast selection of Honda certified pre-owned vehicles over there at Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia Glenville, where they always go out of their way to please you. And with that being said, hello, Buffets! Welcome to another episode of White Heat, presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored as usual by our friends at Mohawk Honda and John Stone Supply. We'll hear from John Stone Supply in a little bit. I'm Brian Katie. That is JJ Alexander. I got the point right. Took a hesitation, but I got the point right. Yeah. Whatever. If you are curious about how to get in contact with us, it's scroll along the bottom of the screen if you're watching on YouTube throughout the entire video. If you're just listening on, say, Google Play, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, first of all, make sure you subscribe to the show. Second of all, leave a review. Rate us. Let us know how you think we're doing. And then, of course, catch us on Twitter at Brian Cady, BRIANCADY, all is one word. He's at JJ_Alexander. I mean, do you really need to spell that? No, I didn't think so. Mr. Alexander. It's been a week?
Yeah, it's been a week.
Yeah. How you doing right now?
Freaking awful.
Yeah, we won't get into that, but, we
can. JJ's in a wheelchair again.
Yeah. The man doesn't catch a break. I
just love how I go to the damn ER and I'm there for 4 fucking hours, and then they're just like, just go home and put ice on it. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I can't move my leg. Like, you did an ultrasound and said there's a hematoma the size of a brick right where my knee joint is, and you're telling me go home and lay down. Fuck you.
I can't move my leg. That's nice. That's fucking nice.
Yeah, it's just wonderful.
I want to just lay down and drink beer all day.
I would, but I can't.
Because I'm an asshole and want you to do a podcast.
No, because I'm on antibiotics, so I can't.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, so good news for all the world. as much as I love the content presented by this show in the form of JJ Alexander's riveting reviews of it, there was no episode of Heels on Stars this past week since our last show. So guess what? No review this week. Sorry, peeps. But good news, bad news. Good news, it's a fucking ass backwards storyline of a show, so we ain't got to talk about it here. Bad news, it's less time for me to laugh. So whatever. So we're going to jump in and just give an update right now of how the G1 Climax tournament is looking over in New Japan Wrestling. So the most recent block to compete was actually earlier today, technically. If you're in the United States, if you're outside the United States, then adjust the time to whatever the hell it was for you. They just had night 8 over in Japan for what would be this morning for us here on the East Coast of the U.S. And so here's how things look through night 8 of the G1. Right now, a 2-way tie for first between Kazuchika Okada and Jeff Cobb. They're each 4-0 with 8 points. Behind them are a pair of wrestlers at 6 points. Hiroshi Tanahashi, the current United States champion, he's at 6. And Evil is also at 6 points. And then we have Sonata and Tai Chi. They're both 2-2, so they have 4 points each. Tama Tonga and Yoshihashi are 1-3, so they each have 2 points. And then Chase Owens and Hiroki Goto, a little bit of surprise there. They're each winless in their first 4 matches in the tournament, so they sit at big goose eggs on the board right now. Just get an idea of the talent each of them have faced, by the way, as far as the 2 goose eggs on the board. Goto, his losses are 2. I mean, it's a crazy ride here. Tanahashi, Okada, Tai Chi, and Cobb. Whereas Chase Owens, his 4 losses have come to Sonata, Cobb, Evil, and Tama Tonga. So if you had to argue one way or the other, I mean, they're all great talents regardless, but obviously Hiroki Goto's had a much tougher road thus far than Chase. So the goose eggs have been excusable in that end. Looking at Block A, obviously we have the injury to Tetsuya Naito. He's out, so there's an auto win factored in to all of to every wrestler I'm about to go through. It's a lot more cluttered A block because of those auto wins everybody's getting from Naito. At the top, we have ZSJ, Zack Sabre Jr., and Great-O-Khan with 8 points each. But Zack Sabre Jr. has a match in hand because the first and only match that Naito was in was a loss to ZSJ. So technically, Great-O-Khan has 5 matches. Everybody else has 5 matches in their results. Zack Sabre Jr. only has 4. So it gives Zack a little bit of an advantage going forward as far as how they book out, how he gets booked out the rest of the way. Then it's a clusterfuck of people with 6 points with Ibushi, Toriano, Takagi, and Kenta all at 6 points. And then we have Ishii and Yujiro Takahashi at 4 points, Tonga Loa at 2, and obviously Naito lost his only match and had to forfeit the rest due to injury, so he's the only one that's going to finish with the 0 out of that one. So things are much more of a clusterfuck in A block than B block. A block, they're next in to compete. They're going to be roughly 36 hours from when we're recording this right now on Friday afternoon, October 1st. Obviously, Japan's, 12, 14 hours ahead of us. Yeah. So they compete again on what will be Sunday night, October 3rd for them, which would be very early Sunday morning, October 3rd for us on the East Coast of the U.S. So, so they'll compete in night 9. Now, let me just see if I can see. So the matchups for night 9 with A block are as follows. It'll be Kota Ibushi against Tomohiro Ishii. Then we have, let's see here, Tonga Loa and Great-O-Khan. That's 2. Let's see. So Ibushi and Takagi is going to be the main event. Takagi has won the only meeting between the two. Zack Sabre Jr. takes on Tomohiro Ishii, with Zack Sabre Jr. having won 3 out of 5 career matchups against Ishii, but in their 2 G1 matchups, ZSJ is 2-0. Tangaloa against Takahashi, so Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. Obviously, they've never met before. Great Khan versus Kenta. Bushi against Toru Yano. Yano's won their only singles matchup in the past. And then the opening match, which is not G1 related, Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Kosei Fujita is going to open the show that night. So, so that's how things look for the only weekend show coming up regarding that. Anything, obviously, Goto being 0-4 is a little bit surprising. Aside from that, anything else jump out at you, JJ?
Just the fact that Jeff Cobb's right up at the top right there right now. I'm happy to see it. Hopefully they do something with that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because if I remember correctly, and this is not me trying to inflate the ego of the person I'm going to mention first here. Pre-Kenny Omega, I want to say the last non-Japanese wrestler that reached a G1 final, I believe that was Carl Anderson, correct?
I think so, yeah.
And that was 09, don't want to say. And then obviously we had Kenny, I think it was back-to-back years for him, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they decide to go with this. The only difficulty, obviously, being that he's, how should I put this? He's essentially booked with New Japan's recent version of what WWE had with John Cena. He's with their Okada in the same block. So that makes things a bit difficult. Then you add in New Japan's Hulk Hogan, which is Tanahashi, and he's only 2 points behind. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens coming down the stretch, especially since Cobb has not faced Okada or Tanahashi yet. Whereas Okada, he already has a win in hand. Tanahashi's only lost so far. So, Okada's a step ahead in that respect to Cobb. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see on that one. As far as A Block is concerned, it's a fucking mess. Obviously, Naito's injury not helping that.
Yeah.
Because it automatically gave everyone 2 points, basically. It's a bizarre looking thing right now. I'm still thinking Takagi is probably going to come out of that, but also wouldn't shock me if they pick Kenta or Ibushi, just because Ibushi's Ibushi. And Kenta, I feel like, is somebody they've been wanting to push.
I think the bloom is off the rose with Kenta.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just wait and see what happens there. But obviously, if you can always keep track by visiting New Japan's website, and we always keep tabs on it over the course of the next few weeks. I believe I remember correctly, G1 wraps up, the 21st of October. So obviously we'll keep track of this over the next couple weeks. And then when it wraps up on October 21st, we'll obviously have that wrap up for you, which then leads into their Road to Power Struggle tour and all that jazz. That being said, let's transfer now over to a piece of news that I caught JJ off guard with before we started recording the show. Because JJ, you mentioned how you watched Impact Wrestling last night. First off, bless your soul.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was watching it, and that's why I was like, "Wait, what?"
Well, before we get into the headline, I've put up on the screen on the YouTube video. I got it. Because I caught little clips here and there just from scrolling through Facebook and Twitter over the last 12 hours. So I want to make sure I've got this right, because I think this is one of the things from last night. So the artist formerly known as Big Kaz, now known as Kaz XL on the Indies, or W. Morrissey, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
W. Morrissey.
He had, was it like a no DQ or a street fight? He had a match with Eddie Edwards, basically.
That must have
And
been
then,
that must have been an hour number 2.
okay. So basically, the way they decided to beef up this thing going on with Moose, Morrissey, and Eddie was to have Morrissey beat the fuck out of Eddie. And Moose was barred from ringside for this match. Then after the match, Morrissey continued to beat the shit out of Eddie as Moose basically dragged Alicia out from backstage and forced her to watch Eddie getting fucked up. Because, you know, lulz. Demeaning women is lulz. That's cool.
Yeah. Especially when you got Moose doing it.
Right. Exactly. So double lulz on that one. Just, I don't know, man. By the way, Sammy Callahan tweeted, he put on Instagram a picture of his ankle. That was a sexy picture. Think of, so take the normal foot, you would like imagine a normal foot in your head. Inflate the size, like thickness of it by about double. That's how swollen it was. Then take essentially up the size of a softball and put that on top of your ankle bone. That's how his ankle looked. It just not fucking pretty at all. All right, so let me take a quick peek here at. Oh, I know what I could bring up. How do you feel about Christopher Daniels coming back to Impact?
I mean, I'm happy to see him, even though, you know, he's over 50.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing, because like the whole thing was in AEW, it had nothing to do with his age, but they were, you know, the whole thing leading up to it was, Daniels had a lot of self-doubt. Kaz was keeping him in it. Then they run the Bucks. Bucks win that tag match and send Daniels packing. So a lot of people were assuming, and we all know what assuming does, is makes an ass out of everyone. A lot of people just assumed, okay, he's done. He's probably just going to take on a backstage role or something. And then he fucking shows up last week, and we didn't get to mention on our last episode. And then this week he shows up and he takes on Fulton, I think it was.
Yeah.
I
feel like they're gonna put the fucking title on him because they never have before. What the hell was that?
That was my younger brother playing Call of Duty and yelling at the screen. So if you do hear faint yelling in the background, especially with a lot of curse words, it's probably my brother playing COD in the living room. Because that's what he does. He works and then he plays COD. That's what he does. Anyways, I just so you're gonna take the belt off a dude in his mid-40s and put I don't know.
Well, it's good. They were like, oh, Chris Daniels is back. Oh, by the way, Chris Daniels wants the title. By the way, Josh Alexander, you're just a third fucking peg here now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're the third wheel. You're just filler. You're filler until we can figure out a way to book Daniels into the title picture. So have fun with that. As I have a bout of hiccups, excuse me. I'm checking his bio real quick, so bear with me for a second here, because I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, X Division champion 4 times, tag champion 2 times, NWA tag champ 6 times.
Yep, never been Impact champion.
This motherfucker won. He got the pink slip back-to-back years in Feast or Fired. I forgot about that. Huh. That's interesting. I never noticed that. Not the Feast or Fire thing, the never been a world champion thing. Well, that's fucking great. This is going to be predictable now. Me and clicking on this fucking ad. So first hour, you saw the triple threat with Zayn, Laredo Kid, and Trey Miguel, I'm assuming.
I don't recall. Honestly, the entire for most of what I watched, because I turned it on before Dark Side of the Ring was coming on, I saw the women's tag match
So you saw
the
Madison
backstage.
Rain and Tennille against Jordan Grace and Ellering.
Yep. Saw the interaction backstage between Daniels, Christian, and Josh Alexander.
Uh-huh.
I don't recall much else of what I saw.
Okay. So after that,
I saw another fucking Good Brothers vignette that I didn't need to see. Like, it was mostly talking.
Did you see the pre-taped brawl on the farm between Deanna and Mickey
Yes.
James?
Yes, God, that was awful.
I saw that clip on Facebook and
that was so fucking bad.
Oh God Almighty!
I don't know what was worse this week: the farm brawl between them two, or the street fight between B-Fab and Elektra Lopez.
Which, yeah, that's
we'll get to later.
Yeah, I forgot Rhino was even still in Impact. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Violent by Design, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, nothing really memorable, honestly.
Yeah.
There was something else I was gonna mention about Impact, and I totally just lost it from my mind. So, anyways, all right. So let's get to the main topic we were looking to discuss coming in this. So Impact announced, and you didn't catch this, so I probably ran this during the second hour while you put on Dark Side of the Ring.
And fell asleep.
It didn't seem like a Dark Side of the Ring that was going to be all that.
No, I was really into it. I just, because the fucking drugs knocked me out. Luckily, I have the DVR.
Touche. So Impact announced the creation of what they're calling the Digital Media Championship. Now, I don't know all the details behind it. I've been trying to look up details.
It's a TV title.
I'm not sure if it's just that or more than that. Hang on. I have the announcement here from the Impact website. Okay.
Oh boy.
So it's going to be a single elimination tournament. So premiering this coming Thursday for us, October the 5th. And it's going to be, this is why it's going to be called the Digital Media Championship. They're doing it exclusively on Impact Plus and YouTube for Impact Ultimate Insiders. It's a single elimination tournament to determine the first ever Impact Digital Media Champion. 2 weekly matches, including 4 as part of Wrestle Week. Whatever the fuck that is. The first champion will be crowned at Bound for Glory. The first 2 matches are going to be John Skyler against Ziggy Dice. God almighty.
Oh, God, Ziggy Dice. Oh.
And then Hernandez versus Crazy Steve. And then they'll announce the rest of the matchups as they go along. So those are the first 2 matchups. And the other part I didn't even get to yet. Based on what I'm hearing from various tweets I saw earlier today, it sounds like this is going to be an open-ended championship, meaning it's going to be intergender. So at any point, you could see a guy champion versus a girl challenger or vice versa. So basically, they're taking the groundwork that was laid, and I know you don't like me mentioning this name, but she was in the angle, so I got to mention it. They're taking the groundwork of what they created when they had the whole Sami Callihan, Tessa Blanchard stuff going on, and creating an extension of it, a permanent extension with the championship belt now. Instead of having women think, oh, now I can be heavyweight champion, or I can be X Division champion, or anything like that. They're saying, fuck that, we're making an intergender title, basically. Obviously, like you mentioned before we started recording, intergender seems to be a hot button thing to do. It just, for me, it's a thing where if intergender is the direction you want to go, make sure you have enough talent back there where you're not just recycling the same talent into intergender situations. Because to me, the way this is set up, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it just screams for Jordan Grace. And
I was just going to say,
like, aside from her, I can't think of And this is not me shitting on the women. It has nothing to do with me shitting on the current women's roster. It's just when you think, because what you want, you don't just want good women wrestlers. You want good women wrestlers that, again, this is if you're smart, which Impact isn't really, but fuck it, I'll say it. You want women wrestlers. You want really good women wrestlers who you credibly believe as challengers. Right. Like you don't want. I'll give you an example. You don't just want fucking Alicia Edwards suddenly in this tournament and just winning every match with like a schoolboy in the first round and a small package in the quarterfinals. Just and she happens to be in line for a title match. Like there has to be some credibility to the challenger. And to me, the only person that makes sense right now would be Jordynne Grace. If Frankie Monet was still around as Taya Valkyrie, maybe her. If Jessica Havoc wasn't on again, off again with Impact, maybe her.
Yeah.
But like this would have been perfect when Awesome Kong was around. Like, because because
or even Lady Tapa.
Think of how Awesome Kong was presented in her original state as part of TNA and Impact. Like before she got fucked up by WWE. Like, oh, chef's kiss. I know you agree with me, but is there anything else you want to add? Because I kind of just stole the thunder of the whole segment, basically.
No, it's pretty much everything that needs to be done. Just, give Jordynne Grace the belt, and then she beats everyone. There's a story.
And here's the other end of it. And this again is not me shitting on. This is not me shitting on Jordynne because I love Jordynne. The other of it is, if you're going to have a female competing long term in this division, you need someone with a full commitment to it. Now, Jordynne has to a degree, but she's also doing a lot of bodybuilding and weightlifting on the side, and she's looking to keep going in those fields. So, like, to me, if there's going to be any long-term booking, I'm not sure Jordynne's the right fit, but to start off, she's the only fit you have. And then from there, you can figure things out, I guess.
Right.
So, yeah. Now, before we get into anything AEW related, I just thought of something off the top of my head, and I'm just going to bring it up, no banner or whatever, for the video. So I don't know if you've been noticing over the last few weeks through social media, but the artists formerly known as Billy Kay and Peyton
Royce, the Iconics,
they're repackaged
again
and essentially starting to book themselves out. Like I know they're coming to an autograph signing. I'm not sure if it's New York Comic Con or a different event that's in Albany, in upstate New York, but it's one or the other. I can't remember. That's just an example. Like I know they're getting booked out for stuff like that, but it looks like they're looking to book out for actual wrestling gigs. And I'm telling you right now, this just screams Impact to me. Because Ring of Honor isn't a fit. I don't think they're really big enough names, especially in-ring, for their in-ring work to be AEW. Obviously, Japan doesn't really feature any women as far as New Japan is concerned. And I don't think they want to work with anybody else. They don't want to work with anybody else that does book women. MLW doesn't really have much of a women's division, if any.
Well, now they're starting to build one, but I guarantee they would charge.
But they're not going to build it on the back of Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So, like, Impact's the only thing that makes fucking sense to me.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. Now, I want to start at the AEW news. Do you want to go on the sensitive side that might make you angry, or do you want to go on the angry side?
It all makes me angry. So just Go right ahead.
All right, let's get this out of the way then. So AEW announced over the course of their programming on Dynamite this week re-signing, I guess we'll say, of Leo Rush. Welcome back, you jerk off. Actually, it's not even welcome back because he basically appeared in the Casino Battle Royale. They thought he was going to sign and then got hurt and retired. And I put air quotes around both of those phrases. And now he's officially back and now signed with the company. On top of that, it was also announced after Sammy Guevara beat Miro for the TV title, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a second, that Bobby Fish is in AEW now? And Bobby's getting the next TV title shot or TNT title shot?
I think that's just a one-off because he's working with MLW.
Yeah, I think so too, because obviously we mentioned he's in the Opera Cup later this month, which we had mentioned in Philly. And to be frank, oh yeah, shit, damn. It's amazing how October snuck up on us, and now my brain's all fucked up on dates. And on top of that, it just I don't see AEW being a good fit for him to begin with. MLW, if there was one or the other, and you're not factoring in Ring of Honor, I would say MLW is a better fit for Bobby anyway. So,
well, I mean,
I would tend to agree it's a one-off.
It's an ex-NXT guy. They got to give him some TV time because you never know. That's why they had fucking Anthony Green on this week, and he didn't even get a placard.
I do remember hearing something about that.
He was in a fucking 6-man with fucking Bear Country against.
Oh, yeah.
And they got the jobber entrance.
Right.
But,
right.
You know.
Right, because I saw the clip. Because what it was, I saw a clip of Bear Country doing some tag team shit during the match, and I saw Green on the apron. That's what it was.
Yeah, Green got to take the fucking Stinger death drop after the match was over.
Of course,
because baby faces beating up heels after the bell is completely reasonable.
Right, normal. Speaking of that, it's kind of. They're not former NXT dudes. Didn't Mr. Dunn, Mr. JT Dunn, get a dark appearance recently?
When they were in Jersey, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because they'll take anybody.
I know Verna, he's on and off with them whenever they need him.
Same thing with George Joel, Robo the Punjabi Lion.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, I mean, hey, it's a payday and it's publicity. I mean, you can't.
It's a payday. But the thing is, they're being used as an enhancement talent. And a lot of these, some of those guys, they know that they're there for their paycheck, and that is fine.
Right.
There's other guys that think that they're going to get long-term signed, and they're not.
AKA Anthony Green. Sorry, Ant, just being blunt. Do we know where? So obviously we're both of the belief that Bobby's just a one-night thing with Sammy.
Yeah.
The fuck are they going to do with Leo?
Dude, he's an ex-WWE guy that does flips. That's Tony Khan just went, here's a blank check.
Okay, again, I'll phrase the question. What the fuck are they going to do with him?
They'll fucking throw him in with a couple other fucks to do in the fucking trio shit.
You know what? I wouldn't be shocked that they book at some point. I don't know if it'd be right away, but I wouldn't be shocked if they try booking Leo Rush against Pac.
Possibly.
Just because flips.
Yeah.
That's basically it. What else? Since we're talking about AEW talent booking, do we know where we're going with Andrade at this point? Or is he just kind of dangling in the wind until somebody decides to give him a fucking idea?
He's still jaw-jacking with fucking Pentagon and Phoenix, because now Pentagon and Phoenix are.
But they just won the belts, so that just totally fucks up any argument that Andrade had to begin with.
they'll throw someone with Andrade, especially because because this week they were just like, oh, by the way, fucking they're the AAA tag champs too. By the way, like here, we haven't acknowledged this in months, but yeah, we got the belts now. Like now we can hold both of them.
Well, I know they're gonna put somebody with Andrade, but like, obviously they shit canned the whole Chavo thing pretty quick.
Yep.
Creative wise, I don't know how much sense it makes to have the Lucha Brothers with him anymore. So, who the fuck is even around that would make sense at this point?
You want AEW to make sense? They'll put fucking Leo with Andrade. Let's just call them ex-WWE flips.
You never know. I don't know. I'm trying to think through the roster, and there's nothing. I know you're saying I'm asking AEW to make sense, but I legitimately can't think. Because I'm also trying to think of dudes who are kind of dangling the wind right now, and I
got a lot of them.
Well, not really, because here's essentially what you have. You have three groups of talents in AEW. You have talents in factions, which is a stupid percentage that I don't even want to bother trying to quantify right now. It's probably over half the fucking roster, which is inexcusable. You have the talents that are just stuck in dark elevation and get an occasional TV match here and there.
Like Sonny Kiss and Joey and fucking
Janela.
Joey Janela, yeah.
And then group 3 is those talents that could range between mid-card and main event and just don't have a fucking thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, even though we haven't seen him since his title loss, that's basically Hangman Page. That's Andrade. I'd throw Brian Cage in that group.
Mm-hmm.
Pac, I guess, because I don't even know if he's still with the Lucha Brothers. Like
Kazarian, kinda.
Although, no, you could say Kazarian's kind of, sort of, pseudo Nightmare Family now.
Well, no, he's the elite hunter. He's on his own. He's the wild card, bitches. I'm sure
Moxley
everything.
And Eddie.
Well, no, Moxley and Eddie are going to be doing the trio shit with Homicide.
Oh, well, that's not really a faction per se, but okay.
Yeah, but you got to realize they're going to be introducing that fucking trios title sooner or later.
Oh, man.
I love how they tried to throw everyone off the scent, saying that they're going to bring out a secondary women's championship.
Yeah, because trademarking and making merch for SuperClick didn't completely give the fuck away that you're doing trios title at some point.
Because they have such an overloaded women's division that you need a secondary women's champion.
That's just...
I can't even finish.
That's nonsensical too. I don't know. Yeah, that was a dumb thing to say. I don't know. This is going to sound weird because I know you don't feel this way, but it kind of makes me feel bad for Andrade that, like, because I don't know what the fuck, like, we don't know what was discussed between him and Tony or him and whoever the fuck was negotiating contracts for AEW. And he's basically had, 2-3 matches tops?
Yeah.
And the rest of the time, he's basically doing what he was doing in WWE, which is eating catering and chilling out.
Yep. I mean, look at it this way. Like, here's the one thing where I'm not sure if it's happened or not. I'm hoping it hasn't, because I hope Tony Khan isn't this stupid. I'm hoping he didn't give all these ex-WWE guys a Favored Nations contract, because that was fucking Bischoff's downfall.
A what?
Favored Nations.
Please enlighten me, because I've heard the name before. I just don't remember what it is.
So basically, and I actually found out about this years ago from William Shatner's biography. Basically, a favored nations contract in Hollywood is when you are signed alongside a certain co-star, and basically it's you are equal on all equal grounds, where anytime the other person gets a pay bump, you get a pay bump. If they are offered something, you are offered something.
Oh, the National Hall contract.
Yeah, originally in Hollywood that's called the favored nations contract. Because that's how like Nimoy directed one Star Trek movie, and then Shatner got to direct the next one because that was part of the contract.
Yeah, I call it the National Hall clause.
Yeah, so let's pray that there is.
They were the fucking best at that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they came
Tony Khan wasn't that dumb.
I think the best story out of that, by the way, just a quick sidebar, is the story of how when it was literally within like 2 months of Hall and Nash arriving, and fucking WWE was broadcasting the return of Razor and Diesel,
and so they got them to bump up their money. Yeah,
and they just threw new contracts on them. They're like, sure. And then they're watching the monitor backstage when JR announces them out, and everybody's looking at Hall Nash like, huh?
The fuck, bro?
Huh? What's? But you? And they're both just fucking laughing at everyone. Yeah, that was funny.
Right. But anyways, so here's hoping that Khan didn't sign any ex-WWE guys to be like that, because God knows, then there's just guys sitting in catering for the fuck of it, collecting bigger checks every fucking month. But I mean, it's the whole grass is greener bullshit, and how everyone's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, guess what? AEW fucking oversaturated their fucking roster, and now they brought in all these ex-WWE guys, and there's ex-WWE guys who are sitting there in fucking catering. And now all of a sudden, the grass isn't always greener on the other fucking side.
Even Titus is saying fuck you right now.
Exactly.
All right. I'm going to bring up this real quick. So AEW was in Rochester for Dynamite, which for me is a few hours west. Mm-hmm. Our own Tom Gaz actually attended the show. And he thought it was a great time. Whatever, fuck him. Just kidding, Tom. We love you.
How'd you like that 16-man clusterfuck match?
Yeah.
That was your big blow off to the Dark Order. Was fucking Brody's wife coming out and going, no, play nice.
Yeah. And -1 throwing papers at Evil Uno.
Yeah.
So over the course of this build-up for the Rochester show, there was also a press release from AEW Wednesday afternoon about how Brody's family and friends are announcing the creation of the Jon Huber Legacy Foundation. Now, I'm reading this directly from the press release. The foundation will focus on providing support to people in creative fields who have not taken the next step in their career because of family obligations. Beginning in 2022, the foundation will select a group of creative individuals to support with resources, connections, practical skills, and direct funding. The cohort will meet throughout the year to learn from experts in areas including business planning, artist management, public relations, brand management, finances, and IP law. These skills and connections will help them provide for their families while also helping them pursue their dreams. And then there's a quote from Brody's widow, and I believe this is Brody's son as well. And then it gives the website and email address at the end of the press release. Obviously, I have zero to say about the foundation.
Yeah.
But
I only have one concern.
Go ahead, because I don't know how to word what I want to say
My
without
only
it coming
concern
off as
is,
awful.
oh yeah, I know. That's no matter what I say, it's going to be awful. So I've already come to peace with that. My only concern is AEW is forming a lot of charitable foundations in a short amount of time. Usually, when you have people that have a lot of money, form a lot of charities in a short amount of time, you got to kind of worry about the authenticity of said charities and whether or not we're just laundering some money or not. If you haven't noticed, WWE, they work with Make-A-Wish, they work with Komen, they work with established charities. They don't create their own every other week.
Did they create Connor's Cure? Or was that something that was a spin-off of something else?
That was that's a spin-off of the juvenile it's St. Jude's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
I'm like, I kind of know what I want to say, but I just don't know how to say it. So,
like, if it's an authentic charity, good on them. But it's
obviously, it's just one of those. See, and this. So let me go broad. Let me go from a broad perspective here. I guess is the best way to put it.
We're talking about broads.
Anyways, to look at things from the big picture perspective. Mm-hmm. Aside from WWE, wrestling and charities, it's always a muddled issue, to put it best.
It is.
Like, when it comes to indies, it's not so much, because typically it's a case of the promoter talking directly to the person in charge of the charity, and the person in charge usually comes to the event.
Right.
So it's usually a cash or check exchange right there at the night of the event, and then it's done. It's over. Right. Maybe you do something in ring to recognize them and showcase the check, get a picture for the PR, and that's it. So it's a lot more black and white right there in front of you when it's an indie thing.
Yeah.
When it's a larger scale company, or it's a charity or foundation created based off of something involving a company, a wrestling event, a la, say, do you know where I'm going with this? We talked about them like a week or two ago.
Yep.
You can see what it is. What's the other charity that AEW linked up with the last week?
Oh, the Owen Hart one? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The word is authenticity that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You're just not. You always gotta wait and see.
Right.
Now, this is not me down the intentions of the Huber family. This is more so me doubting the intentions of anyone that could be involved from the wrestling community that's backing said foundation.
Exactly.
So, like, how deep are we talking? Like, are there people, like, if there's a board created for this foundation, how many people from AEW are part of that board? Who's controlling the finances and such and such? Right. So it's not so much me shitting on the foundation, it's reserved appreciation for it, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, you see, I eventually found the words, so I didn't come off as such an asshole. But it's the correct point of view. It really is. It's the only point of view to have with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Let me just see if I missed anything. Oh, all right. So last thing about AEW before we move on.
Oh, I got a few things. What you talking about?
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. So let me touch on this one thing, and then I'll let you go with whatever the fuck you want to rant about.
Okay.
Sammy Guevara, new TNT champ, beats Miro. Here's like booking Sammy to win the title. I don't have a huge problem with. Here's what I have a problem with. It's the theme that they set up with Miro for a while that this creative nuance is what led to the title change. You basically took this guy who was a monster
and who was undefeated,
beating the fuck out of everyone,
mm-hmm.
and suddenly you're saying, like, you're suddenly saying this guy's chink in his armor is the fucking tornado DDT.
Yeah.
Like, that creative doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense to me.
Just the fact you take a monster and have him get beat clean by a 12-year-old.
That's a bit much. But like, I don't know. I don't fucking get it.
I see nothing in Sammy Guevara. I never have. And like I like one of the right things they were doing was how they were booking Miro finally, and they just completely flushed all that. Like, where are you going to go with him now? Like, you obviously proved that he can do the job clean to a guy fucking a third of his size, so you lost all the allure.
Yeah,
and this whole fucking everyone gets their own TNT title bullshit.
Oh, with the colored strap, whatever the fuck it is.
And like, well, like it's the plate's different or the strap is like, because Sammy's has like diamonds all over the TNT and shit.
So they're not even doing the interchangeable plates. They're doing completely separate belts for every single person.
It's a different belt for every person.
That's a good waste of money.
Oh yeah, it's a huge waste of money. Here's my two schools of thought on that. Number one,
Belts by Dan probably loves them.
Remember how
that's where they get them. I don't know. Sorry,
remember how after Brody died, they said that they were retiring that TNT championship.
They were referring to just the actual belt.
Right. Well, that just lost all its luster if every person that wins a title gets their own fucking belt, because every belt's been retired.
I know.
Not only that, but if you recall, when the first TNT title came out, everyone said this looks like shit. And then they went, oh, well, this is just a temporary belt. This isn't the permanent one.
Right.
And then when Brody dies, they're like, oh, the temporary one that we said was a piece of shit will always be associated with Brody. Like, I didn't dig that. But this whole everybody gets their own belt shit, like, it screams a fucking indie. Like, it makes no sense, especially when it's and I guarantee this is part of Tony Khan's bullshit of how he's like, the TNT title isn't a mid-card title. Yes, it is. Fuck you. It's a mid-card title. And his way of saying that it's not a mid-card title is for every person to get their own version of it. Like, fuck you, dude. You're just throwing money out the fucking window. Guess what? And like, unless you're going to try to market it as you're going to sell every version of this as a replica belt in your shop, which would make sense, but god damn, someone have to be a huge stupid ass mark to buy all of those. But it's just unfucking believable. It's a mid-card title and it's not special if everyone gets their own version of it. Like, I was never a big proponent back in the day when Austin got the Smoking Skull belt.
Okay.
And I'm glad that they didn't go forward with, if you remember, there were toys out where Taker was supposed to get his own belt and Rock was supposed to get his own belt. And they eventually said, they were like, no, we're not going to do that, which was smart. And then TNA did
it was cute for collectors. Was what it was.
But then then TNA did that stupid shit with Jeff Hardy with the fucking,
oh god, the ugliest belt known to man.
Exactly. Like that's what you at your TNA now. Yeah, everyone gets their own belt. No, like you don't get your own fucking belt. Like this isn't everybody gets a trophy day. Fuck you. Like I don't get it. And like, what's gonna happen when how you literally took a kid whose whole gimmick has been I'm not getting booked on matches, so I stand here with cue cards during the picture-in-picture, and put your fucking mid-card title on him. The fuck?
I don't know.
He beats an undefeated monster. This was a kid holding cue cards 2 weeks ago.
Right. The cue cards thing is a continuous gimmick, though. That's not like.
But still, when that's your gimmick and not your like. The last time he worked a match on Dynamite was when he did the job to NJF like fucking 4 months ago.
Okay.
Like,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, it might not have been 4 months ago, but it was a few months ago. Because that was the one where he kicked out of a second rope fucking tombstone, and I went, fuck this game.
No, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give a shameless plug real quick. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Old buddy of mine who used to back Dynasty Pro Wrestling, he runs a different company now called Immortal Championship Wrestling.
I'm familiar.
He runs areas roughly within an hour of where I am, hour and a half. So I'm just going to fucking find Ben Hameen. I'm going to fucking pin him and take the Dippin' Donuts 24/7 title and just put my fucking picture in the middle of it. I'm going to call it the Katie Memorial Championship. Fuck you. Ben, I'm coming for you, motherfucker. That's what'll get the $5 face slap. Hala. Sorry. Maybe they'll put me on his podcast with Stevie Richards and then Vince Russo. Anyways, they're actually pretty funny. Well, not so much Vince, but Stevie and Ben are. Russo is Russo.
Stevie's an odd bird.
Well, I mean, you would know a little better than I would. Anyways,
but let me get back to this other shit.
There's one thing. There's one other thing I want to bring up, but you go with your thing, and then I'll come back to it.
Okay, so first off, I want to talk about fucking AEW inflating their numbers. Because I know
1.12.
The ratings were down again this week.
I saw that from was it Sean Sapp? Oh boy. Yeah. Okay.
I'm talking about attendance numbers because I know people that were at Arthur Ashe last week and that were in Rochester this week. And both confirmed. Both arenas were 2/3 full max. And these motherfuckers are saying that they're selling out these arenas. And it wouldn't bother me if fucking CM Punk hadn't gone on and fucking started talking shit about Vince inflating the numbers for Mania 3. Like, motherfucker, Mania 3 was 14 years ago. Fuck off. Like, the Silver Dome does not exist anymore. If that's going to be your fucking point of contention, like, they've already broken that attendance number, like, a few times. So it doesn't matter. But you're not going to sit here and go, you sold out Arthur Ashe Stadium when you didn't fucking sell it out. When I know people there were like, it was 60% full. And then when I see video of people in the stands taking video of Homicide doing the run-in during Rampage after most of the crowd had fucking left. And the entire third tier that you did not see on TV whatsoever was empty. They only showed floor, second tier. Third tier, you never fucking saw on TV. But every person that was there that had third tier seats took pictures and went, look, it's empty.
Look, it's empty. Lulz.
And then, let's talk about, remember that tweet I sent you? Because remember I said is AEW is just a giant indie show?
Uh-huh.
Sure as hell proves it. And I said how women don't go to indie shows. because the few women that went to Arthur Ashe went, God, get me out of here, because this place reeks of BO and BM, because it's an indie show and your prime demographic are fanboys who don't bathe. And especially the worst thing was they were serving Korean barbecue.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So yeah, and it's, they said it was like I feel sorry for the cleanup crew at Arthur Ashe, because God, I would have needed a hazmat suit. Like seriously, it's like I remember going to ROH shows back in 04, and those were some funky crowds. God, I could only imagine. Oh,
Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! There is one other thing that I want to bring up from AEW.
Sure.
Do you want to take a guess before I say it?
The fact that CM Punk has become a caricature of himself?
No, I'll give you a hint. It's a moment from the show that's been pretty well discussed the last 2 days.
Cody getting booed?
You're on the right track.
And Arn talking about a Glock for some reason?
Yes! Fucking yes!
I was half paying attention. I was like, what the fuck is Arn talking about?
Essentially, this is what I gather. Arn wanted to take Cody out back like he was Old Yeller and put him down. It's essentially what it sounded like. Trust me, it caught me off guard too. And I'm just like, okay. Sure, Arn. Yeah, gotcha. Oh my God. Oh, next thing you know, they're gonna have a Pillman moment. They're gonna have somebody actually on TV with a goddamn gun. Oh my goodness.
There was something I wanted to address a few weeks ago, and I keep forgetting to.
Go ahead.
So, did you see the shit where Cody compared himself to John Cena?
I heard about it.
So basically, the whole thing is because like Cody keeps getting booed when he comes out, and,
right?
And he refuses to turn heel, and he says because he compares himself to John Cena, and this goes back to the whole thing that I've probably driven into the ground by now about how WWE has a fan base that is all inclusive. So while the male audience may be booing John Cena, the women and the children are cheering for him and buying the merch. AEW has no women or children. So all you have is the guys booing for you. Therefore, you are not John Cena. You are X-Pac Heat. And you need to realize that nobody cares about you, that your brother had all the talent in the fucking family. And just because you took your daddy's last name doesn't mean you have the charisma that your daddy has. No matter how much you can finesse motherfuckers into giving you fucking great value Miz and Mrs., fuck off, Cody. Go the fuck away.
I think that's a good way to end up. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Did you notice how before that tag match, which that tag match made no sense, how Cody literally comes out center stage like he's the whole fucking thing, and then like Arn and fucking and Lee Johnson and them just come skulking out like from the tunnel behind him. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Like, put your ego aside. Because I love how the story's running around again of how Cody and the Bucks don't really have any creative control anymore. The same story that they ran like 5 months ago that no one was believing then. and how, because it's just like, oh yeah, no, they're EVPs in name only. They have no creative control. Yeah, that's why the first 45 minutes of Dynamite featured the fucking Elite on Wednesday, right? But they don't have any creative control.
Lulz. Well, I think that's a perfect way to wrap up our AEW segment of the show.
Yeah.
Let's get on to WWE to get us into the back end of things. Just real quick, because we didn't even acknowledge it in our last show, because honestly, I totally forgot, so I'll take the fall on this one. WWE had a pay-per-view, Extreme Rules, and the reason I say it that way is because aside from any of the stuff that was happening around Roman and Finn, as well as Becky and Bianca, it just kind of seemed like a show lost in the sauce that nobody really gave a shit about, to be frank.
I mean, look at the opening match that went 35 minutes, been announced. They just threw it on there.
Yeah, they basically took the programming of the clusterfuck that was the Raw before, with all the Lashley and Lashley Reigns and Big E stuff, and extended into the pay-per-view by having New Day reunite as a trio against Lashley, Styles, and Omos. Because fuck it, why not?
Nice gear though.
Oh, New Day?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say if you're saying anybody else, it doesn't make fucking sense.
No, New Day. They did that Fuji's gear.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was the score.
Right. So we had that. The pre-show, they had Liv and Carmella. Who cares? Usos retained the tag titles over the Profits. The only real talking piece there was three talking pieces coming out of that show. If you want to call them that. Number one, Charlotte beating Alexa and destroying Lily.
Yeah.
And now Alexa's out. Now, I've only seen this from very few people being said. I don't think it's true. But some people are saying that she needed a surgery or she got an injury. From what I understood from the majority of people, this is just her taking a break and just saying, hey, I need time off, blah, blah, blah.
Which I'm not even sure if she's taking a break.
Well, here's my input. Here's a guess. I think, I could be wrong, because I'm not sure how long they've actually been engaged. I have a feeling maybe her and Ryan Cabrera want to get the wedding over with. So they might be putting together a small ceremony, getting it done, and then have her come back. So she wanted time off to plan the ceremony and get it done. Again, that's just me completely guessing. I could be off. I could be completely off with that. But that'll be my own personal guess. Or option B, she just legitimately needed some time away.
I mean,
which I don't think she really did, but you never know. She
hasn't really worked many matches in the past few months.
Right. No, you're right. So, again, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that.
I have another theory on that.
Does it wrap into what we're going to end the show with?
No. It wraps into what happened with the rest of Extreme Rules.
All right. Well, let's get it. Let me just mention the other two things, and then we'll circle back to that. I will say this: the pre-Sheamus Hardy triple threat, not too shabby.
It was all right.
And then Sheamus gets his nose broken again 2 nights later. The next night. Sorry.
I think that was just kayfabe.
Talking point number 2. Sasha returns because fuck it.
I think there's a reason for that too. That's going to be more draft issue.
Yeah, I think we're both of the same opinion about what's going to happen out of those three. But we'll circle back to that. And then the third thing So we decided to have the demon lose because he can't keep a top rope put together. The the top turnbuckle snaps off, and that's your match basically.
Otherworldly forces at play.
Like what? Are you trying to say this is a Bray thing again? This is their way of trying to bring Bray back into the mix.
I can hope, but it's a possibility considering right before Finn came back on the main roster, they had him shoot that vignette with the psychiatrist. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Vignette with the psychiatrist.
It aired on WWE.com, and it was like this. And I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, where it was Finn Balor going to see a psychiatrist to deal with his demons. And he sat there and he had like a little like bunny that he was playing with, like laying on the couch. And they brought up Bray Wyatt during it. And this is before Bray was released.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like Finn basically said that like he was afraid of Bray and that Finn didn't have any demons anymore. And how he didn't, the demon didn't rule Finn's life anymore and all that stuff. And this is while he was still down in NXT. Which was really odd as to how they had him referencing Bray because he wasn't back up on the main roster yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you look towards Extreme Rules. So they needed to do something because the whole fish flop thing was fresh out B. That was dumb. You know, when he was out and then they did the demon heartbeat and he did the fish flop on the floor. I was like, bruh, no, dude, no. But so he gets up. So the moment you saw him going up and you saw the smoke keep coming up, I was like, something's about to happen. Because they need to keep the demon looking strong. And granted, a 3-on-1 beatdown should have been enough, but twist it in a little more because you want to make sure you keep that character strong. So between that and the fact that Alexa's being written off TV, supposedly, we all know how the crowd has reacted to Alexa, even though it's not her fault.
Mm-hmm.
And how people have really been mad that she took Bray's gimmick. How now with Alexa off of TV, and with that little lead in, how they may have been talking to Bray, an agreement may have been reached, and we can bring back and we can do the Demon versus the Fiend feud that they set the seeds for a while back and that people have been basically clamoring for God knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
So one can only hope. I'm going to put it all this. I will put one other thing forward. Because I was checking, because I loved how fucking the stupid Meltzer bullshit of how Bray could break his 90-day non-compete and show up in Rochester if he wants. Bullshit. And it obviously didn't happen. Bray, all of Bray's shit in the WWE shop hasn't been put on clearance yet. It's all still full price.
That's a telling sign.
Yes, it is. Like the only stuff that was discounted was the t-shirts that they every time they do with the 40% off shirts or whatever.
Right.
But literally all the Bray merch, full price. Nothing. Not a single item. Even like the only other thing that's discounted is the Fiend on the Scene little elf on the shelf thing. But that's been marked down since day after New Year's 8 months ago. 9 months ago. 10 months ago. But yeah. All the Bray merch is still full price.
Well, one can hope that that's what happens and that we actually have because if we end up getting nothing out of this and it's literally just the turnbuckle snap because fuck it, then it's like
the only other thing that they could be doing is because if you notice they had Roman looking up afterwards and have a do thing where like Roman's ancestors are looking out for him as the tribal chief and do some shit like that, which doesn't hit right, but
No,
it's something.
no, 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 no. What?
Boo, I'm a ghost. What? What?
Can I make a
Scared to
weird
start flat?
prediction right now?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm not even sure that this is even a smart prediction for me to make, but fuck it. Roman versus Rock WrestleMania.
Dude, I've been saying that since we started this fucking show.
But I'm going to add to it a little bit here.
With a ghost referee?
Referee is God. I don't know. Let me sit on it for a week and we'll redress it next week because
Okay.
I need to put my thoughts together on that. So let's just move on to Raw for now. So essentially, the bookends of Raw were a no contest for the WWE title because Hurt Business reunited, and then Big E and LSD continued the WWE title match in a steel cage to end the night, and Big E retained.
Which is good because Big E needed that win.
Of course. Now we're at a point where one would assume they'll probably just continue this New Day Hurt Business thing.
For a few weeks.
Going to get. Well, my theory is the blow-off is either going to be a title match again between the two at Crown Jewel, or B, a 6-man tag at Crown Jewel.
Probably.
I'll lean more towards the 6-man tag.
Yeah.
Just because how many times can you keep giving Lashley? I mean, against WWE, so who the fuck knows? But how many times can you keep giving Lashley and Big E for the title match?
Right.
So I would assume it would be leaning more towards the 6-man tag.
Yeah.
By the way, quick reminder: Crown Jewel is
next week.
No, it's the 21st.
Oh yeah, 3 weeks.
And as of right now, the only officially booked match is Roman against Brock Lesnar for the Universal title.
Yep. And the finals of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, which they keep stalling on because they were supposed to do something this weekend for that, and there's been zero pub about anything like that happening. Like, not even the website has a press release about it or anything like that. Anything else? We've gotten to the point where we have Ricochet jobbing out by DQ to Reggie for the 24/7 title. That's great. Question if people stop getting their panties in a knot about Keith Lee being called Bearcat. Like, fuck off. I fucking love it, and I don't see why people are bitching about it.
I know. People just need to chill the fuck out. It's a fucking nickname. Shut up.
I just thought it was funny. Like, remember, 18 months ago, Ricochet was facing Brock Lesnar for the fucking WWE Championship, and now he's chasing the 24/7 title against a guy who's not a wrestler. I'm praying that Shayna fucking that Eva Marie stays off TV now for a while, thanks to Shayna.
Do they really think that this is going to help her become a face?
Shayna?
Yeah.
No, Shayna's still staying a heel.
Okay.
That's why they're going to bring Nia back as a face eventually, but Shayna, they're making Shayna back out to be the I'm going to break everyone in half heel. But the thing,
I would hope so. But there's some people that are like, oh well, now she did Eva Marie, so maybe she'll be a face.
No, because
fuck off.
That goes along with the I don't give a fuck. I'm going to hurt everyone, and that is why Shayna did the classic heel thing on Monday, which is where she did it once, and then the crowd started chanting one more time, and then she went fuck off and walked away. Because a babyface would have done it again.
Right. So basically they're booking themselves into assuming they're going to continue on with this, they're booking themselves into Shayna Charlotte.
Most likely, because here's how I'm looking at it. They're about to do this Queen of the Ring fucking gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
You're obviously not going to have Charlotte in it because she's the champion.
Right.
But Shayna is the Queen of Spades.
Well, yeah. Duh.
It's kind of it's lazy writing,
but it makes sense.
It's there. It's there.
Anything else?
Easy booking.
Was there anything else? I mean, Styles and Riddle had a decent match. That's really the only thing that
we're going back to where's Randy again? Like the fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I don't dig it.
Nothing else really jumped out to me from Raw.
I do not dig fucking the Viking Raiders having to play job boys to fucking
and Garza and Carrillo.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. Like
Fair.
To do the job clean, fuck you.
Yeah, I hear you. Real quick, NXT before we get into the draft. You already mentioned how that no DQ opening match between B-Fab and Elektra Lopez was like watching molasses pour out of a jar.
And you know what's really sad about that? Elektra Lopez is fucking second generation, and she's that fucking bad.
Who's the father?
So here's a deep dig for you because Elektra Lopez is actually from around here. Her name's Carissa Rivera. Dad.
Okay.
Her dad wrestled under the name Steve King. He was enhancement talent for WWF in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
He died of leukemia in the 90s.
Yeah, I heard the name. Okay.
Yeah, like she actually like contacted us to be booked like a few years ago, and we weren't running at the time.
I remember the indie name. That's why her new name threw me off.
Yeah. God, it's like how like your Tessa Blanchard levels of bad. Like Jesus. Like God, that was so. And they opened the show with that. Like, how are you gonna do that? Like,
yeah.
Because I kind of like Cornette has really been tearing apart the new NXT, and I don't think it deserves all the tearing apart it's been getting, but I do agree with them that it does feel a lot more like developmental TV and more like regional TV that shouldn't be on a national scale.
Agreed.
I do agree with that. I think there's some good things coming out of it, but I think.
Gee, I feel like somebody said that after the first episode of NXT 2.0. Who said something along that nature? That it, I don't know.
What?
What you just said Cornette was saying. I don't know.
Did it look too much like developmental TV?
Yeah. I mean, who was saying something like that? I don't remember.
Well, and I said the same thing.
Anyways,
I remember we agreed how they were turning it back into developmental TV. I just think that after this week is going to be the telltale sign, because after the draft, we're going to see the landscape, how the landscape looks, and we're also going to see what it looks like when Trips is back at the helm full time.
Mm-hmm. Poor Oni Lorcan had a job out to some poor schmuck. I mean, nobody cares about the tag team thing. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I think Oni is going to be one of those guys now who, if they don't bring him up to the main roster, is going to be one of those mechanics in NXT to help get the younger guys look good. He's going to be, him. Like I've been saying for years that Danny Burch is NXT's Rip Rogers. Like it's just the way it is. Like sometimes there's guys that you need there like that, and there's some guys that have been completely that are completely at peace with being the mechanic that helps get the younger guys over. It's just there's a lot of egos that don't want to be that. Every person, every piece holds its position. The tag division just looks like a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go with
that. It's like here's
one.
MSK, but it's like here's all these tag teams, and it's just like Grizzled Young Veterans need to get off that show. They're past developmental at this point.
Right. Zoe and Io retained the women's tag titles. We all knew that was happening because there's no way they were going to put them
Thank God.
on those
Grapevine
two.
gods.
Um,
But then, like, how the fuck are you going to have them do the job clean in the tag title match and then have them come out and try to assert them into the fucking women's title match at the end? Into the women's title picture. Sorry. Like, no, you just lost this. You don't get to do this now.
well, it's somebody that wasn't in the match that's challenging, not.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's a fucking stable that hasn't done shit, and it's Mandy. When the fuck has Mandy Rose ever fucking mattered when it comes to championships?
Listen, don't yell at me. I don't fucking know. The only time it would have ever made sense is when her and Sonya were together for the women's tag titles. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing for you on that one. Nobody cares about Boa winning a squash match. Who cares? Grayson Waller lost to Roddy Strong in a cruiserweight title match.
That's fucking coming, Jesus. It's like, oh, here's the guy that just did the fucking job with fucking Drake Maverick 2 weeks ago, but he's getting a shot at the cruiserweight title. Give me a fucking break.
Can someone explain to me if they're so big on Ridge Holland, unless they're calling him up in the draft, which I don't think they're going to? Why is he losing to Kyle O'Reilly? Like what? Why?
So they can further out that feud a little bit more. Because they want O'Reilly to give Ridge the experience that he needs. Because Ridge was only on the indies for like a good maybe 14, 15 months before WWE scooped him up. I'm not a fan of it myself, but Ridge is not TV ready.
Give me a shot of arsenic on the rocks if you're going to give me another O'Reilly.
I know. I agree. See, here's the issue. Is they converted NXT back to developmental TV, which is fine. But the thing is, they don't have a step below that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how like minor league baseball, you've got AAA, you've got yada yada or whatever. You know, you've got these smaller leagues that feed into the larger leagues. You don't go straight from, and I'm just using localish shit that I have. You don't go from the Bristol Blues straight to the fucking Red Sox. Like, I know they're not associated in any way, but because there's steps in between. You know, here they don't have that lower level anymore. Whereas even with NXT and you know, before pre-pandemic NXT, they were still able to take guys that needed work and give them to Gabe and Evolve and have them hone some shit and Evolve in front of live crowds.
Or do the Florida circuit on weekends.
Right, but I mean, this is post Florida Championship, but pre where we are now.
Right.
And so Evolve was a kind of a good place for that, even though guys like Mansoor and Babatunde never got any better. It was still there. Now there's literally nothing. There is Performance Center, Tuesday nights, main roster. There's nothing in between, and they need that in between. They need a Deep South or an OVW or something like that to do, or a USWA before they get on TV. And that's one thing where Cornette was mentioning that I completely agree with. Because you can't just putting someone on a national TV audience, like, doesn't, you know, putting them out there on Tuesday night doesn't mean that in a couple of months they're going to be ready for, you know, national TV exposure. They're already, you know, their national TV exposure as it is, but it's you know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing a step there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't go from getting your learner's permit to having a fucking Class A CDL in 3 weeks.
There was a was a company in Florida. Ah, hello, welcome to my life. Considering they were closely knit with Evolve at one point, couldn't it make sense for them to go to FIP?
Is FIP still around?
Full Impact Pro? It's what it shows here.
I don't know if Gabe has anything to do with FIP anymore, because that was the thing was before, and that was the thing was FIP was the developmental for ROH.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but I don't think, because I remember because Seth mentioned that on the Broken Skull sessions about working FIP, but I'm not sure if Gabe still runs FIP or not, or if that became part of the ROH package when they sold to Sinclair. Because that would make sense.
Because I know their shows right now are being put on Fight TV.
Yeah.
They have an event, like for example, that they have a show coming up October 10th in Clearwater.
Yeah.
Of course, clicking this is gonna bring me to WWN Live. Yeah, I know. Let me see if there's any talents that we recognize on this show. Chaka and Maluda.
Oh, Sean Maluta's down there?
Yeah.
And Jaka? I love Jaka.
Dirty Dozen Eliminator match. Anthony Green's in it. Azrael. Mike Orlando. Oh, okay.
I'm still mad I never got to book Mike.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I'm so mad Mike never showed up for our shows. I got to book him. He just never got to show up.
Mike, we love you. Eddie Hooser. One last thing before we get to the draft. I know we're already an hour and a half in, but how painful was that women's title match to end the show?
It wasn't painful. It was what it was, and because it was you knew when they bumped it a few weeks ago that it was never going to be anything of consequence.
Yep.
And I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't that great.
Raquel still needs some work. She's still a little clunky in there,
and like I said, and like I said, the moment she got signed, that Frankie wasn't going to be along for NXT.
Yeah, which I think we're about to get to in a second. All right, so WWE Draft begins as we're recording this. Begins in 4 hours and 11 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Starts at 8 o'clock tonight on SmackDown. Continues into this coming Monday on Raw. So here's what we're going to do. I'm not sure what JJ has prepared and how he's prepared it, but I have forwarded him that I basically had 3 lists created on my iPad, which is sitting next to me. I have a list of NXT talents that I believe are going to be promoted onto the roster through the draft. I have a group of SmackDown talent that I believe are going to go to Raw, and then a group of Raw talent going to SmackDown.
Are you going to send me that list, or like?
Yes, I'll give you what I have for NXT to start.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is I'll name off the talents I've listed, and you can agree or disagree. And then if there's anybody,
I'll bounce off yours with the ones I have. Yeah.
If there's anybody that I missed, you can certainly throw them in as well. All right. So here's the list of talent I have for NXT. And what I'll do is I'll stop at each one and let you say agree or disagree, and then we'll move on. And then once we get through the whole list, then we'll discuss. All right. First guy, and I did this essentially in alphabetical order. So here's what I have. Austin Theory. Okay. Cameron Grimes.
I'm hoping.
Dakota Kai.
No.
Frankie Monet.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano.
Not yet.
It's a differing opinion from what you've been saying. Candice LeRae.
Not while she's pregnant.
Well. LA Knight.
Nope.
And Scarlett.
I figured Scarlett's is a foregone conclusion just until they got to wait till she's medically cleared with whatever's going on with her.
Right.
As far as what you gave there, I think Theory is going to stick down in NXT for a while because I think he is one of those guys that's young enough where they can keep him down there and he can work with the new talents to make them shine. And he's a guy where with the right packaging and everything, they can make the figurehead of NXT for a while. Dakota Kai, I don't see any use for her on any show. Frankie Monet, yes, I see her going to Raw. Johnny, I see coming up at the Rumble. I don't see him coming up during the draft.
Okay.
And Candice,
or it could even be a night after WrestleMania call-up.
I wouldn't wait that long. I think he'll be a surprise during the Rumble and show up on.
I'm just saying it could be one or the other. Like those are two good standout spots.
Right. LA Knight is staying in NXT. He's going to be a mechanic and his ego has to fucking realize that. As it is, he's already fucking advertised for NXT for next week to fucking face Odyssey Jones.
Oh, I did know. Well, I mean, there's also been a case where sometimes people are called up and they have one or two more matches and then go up.
True. As far as other talents from NXT, I see Kushida going to SmackDown. I think that's why they had him drop the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah, I had Kushida 50-50. And I just left him off for the sake of it, but that wouldn't shock me at all. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's anybody else that I didn't mention?
Not that I can think of. I mean, because that's a lot of NXT talents as it is.
Right. Like another person I had 50-50 on was Ember Moon, but in the end I left her off because I think they're just going to keep her down as, again, a hand for the female talent.
Yeah, she's going to be a mechanic, yeah.
All right. So here's the list of guys currently on the Raw roster that I believe are going to go to SmackDown through the draft. And again, we'll do the same thing. You could say yes or no each time, and then we'll reconvene at the end of the group. The tag team of AJ Styles and Omos.
Nope.
Asuka.
Possibly.
Drew McIntyre.
Up until the end of Raw, I would have said yes.
Okay. John Morrison.
Nope. Morrison's staying on Raw.
Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley.
Probably, yeah.
Ricochet.
Yes.
Sheamus.
Nope.
The Miz.
Nope.
Okay.
Sheamus and Miz, you got to realize both came over to Raw in the last draft. To have them go right back.
Miz just seems to be the constantly bouncing ball, though. So, like, I don't know.
Right, but if you want to look at it as far as entertainer versus workhorse shows, Miz and Sheamus are more of entertainers.
I agree.
So I could, what do you call it? So I see them staying on Raw. I could see the Raiders going to SmackDown.
Okay.
And also, who else was it? There was someone who I could have sworn would have gone. Shit. I'll probably remember it like halfway, so keep going.
All right. And this is the group I have from SmackDown going to Raw. Street Profits.
Yep.
Bianca Belair.
Yep.
Cesaro.
One can hope.
Gable and Otis.
Nope. See them staying on SmackDown.
Dominic.
Off my TV.
I knew that was coming. The more I look at this name and the last name I have on here, the more I'm kind of thinking not, but I'll say it anyways. Finn Balor.
If they do the stuff with Bray, I see it going. I see him going to Mondays.
Okay. Kevin Owens.
Plus, it keeps him away from Roman now that yeah.
Right.
KO, yeah, I think KO should go to Raw.
Liv Morgan.
Nah.
Sami Zayn.
I see Sami staying on SmackDown.
And this is the other one I'm more unsure about now that I'm looking at it again. Seth Rollins.
I feel like Rollins needs to go to Raw because there's only so far you're going to make as top heel while Roman's champ.
Agreed.
Like, there's only so far you can keep him away from the title picture. And yeah, like the only real option is to put him over on Raw. But yeah, honestly, I definitely agree with the Profits and Bianca.
I think him and E would be a good matchup down the road.
Oh, like definitely. I think
maybe for Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, Look at it this way. It's a rematch fucking 10 years in the making. Not 10 years, like 7 years in the making.
Yeah, after Seth had to drop the NXT title to him when he was still Big E Langston.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
See, I know.
But yeah, I see there. What do you call it? I was possibly thinking they were going to switch mid-card titles, but I don't think they're going to.
See, I was thinking that too. I thought about that.
I think Vince has found his niche, unfortunately, with Damian Priest as far as Latin American audience shit goes. Yeah. So I don't think he's going to send him over to one that already has that base. But Rude and Ziggler, I could see going to Raw.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think of them just because they've been such a background act recently. I didn't even think of them really. But yeah,
exactly. But you could bring them over to Raw to feud with Orton and Riddle and get some good matches. And that was why I was thinking Raiders going to SmackDown, because we haven't seen Raiders versus Usos.
So as another podcast would say, bring them over for a fresh painted coat.
Yes, fresh painted coat.
But
yeah. I could possibly see them sending Apollo back over to Raw.
And by the way, let's assume Seth does go to Raw. Wouldn't it just make sense if one then the other? And I know Edge doesn't necessarily have to be assigned to a brand per se, but technically he's been SmackDown brand for a while. So if one would assume the other then, because you'd assume they're going to end that at somehow, some way, like maybe Survivor Series. So
yeah,
right. Yeah, I mean, at least that would be my assumption. They don't even announce Edge as a draft pick, and it's a trade or whatever the fuck they do.
Or he just shows up one day.
Right, because he's Edge.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the draft this year is going to be heavily accentuated on lower and mid card. It's not going to be a lot of shaking up on the high end.
Right. Because E and Roman are not switching, the tag champs are not switching. Because SmackDown is clearly the Roman show right now, and there's no fucking need to change anything involving him, the Usos, or Heyman right now. Leave it as is. Just, if it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it. And on the other side of it, New Day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, let them do their thing. Riddle and Orton.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like Riddle and Orton are over. If they ain't broke, don't fix them. Like, let that be. And then eventually, obviously, we're going to have the Orton turn on him, but let's keep it for now.
One dark horse I could also see happening, depending on, I could see them putting Shayna over on SmackDown.
Who?
Shayna.
Oh.
Send Bianca over to Raw, send Shayna over to SmackDown. Because remember, we never got that Shayna Becky feud and remember, there was a lot of seeds laid there because they may be coming to grips with the fact that heel Becky just ain't going to work, like you said.
Now, this is me trying to make sense out of something that has no sense to it right now. You know how Naomi has been bugging Sonya for a match on SmackDown for like a month now?
Yeah.
That would make perfect fucking sense tonight. If they announce Shayna as a draft pick and go, okay, Naomi, you have a match. Here's your opponent. And then Shayna comes out.
True.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? All right. I mean, yeah. There we go. Booking on the fly, because that's kind of what WWE does these days. Anything else regarding the draft before we wrap things up?
I think that's about it. Unless there's like they pull something magical out, and all of a sudden there's like some like new signing that we don't know about. I have to say, going back, I did pop when MJF referenced MLW and Bruce Pritchard. And that one line that he gave about, of all the cons in professional wrestling, you're one of my favorites. I'm telling you, Jude, one day MJF will come to WWE where he belongs.
Well, no shit. We know that.
I'm just hoping it's sooner rather than later.
They're just waiting for the right amount of luster on him to be like, gotcha, bitch. Right. Fuck. God damn it. There was one other thing else. Oh, yeah, I know what it was. Anyways, yeah, so we good?
We're good. I'm kind of upset that I'm not going to be able to go to Philly this weekend for Fightland for MLW.
For Opera Cup, yeah.
I don't, the Opera Cup really doesn't interest me this year, but we're finally getting fucking Hammer and fucking Fatu.
Yeah.
However, that is going to air on Vice in 2 weeks. So that's the good thing, is I don't have to wait that long to watch it.
And stay the fuck off Twitter tonight so nobody spoils it for you.
Yep.
That all being said, that wraps up this episode of White Heat, presented by Godzilla Media. Thanks again to Mohawk Honda. And real quick, thanks again to our sponsor, Johnstone Supply in Troy. Remember, fall is officially here. That's right. The chill is in the air. We're starting to get those lower temperatures, which reminds you, hey, shit, we haven't looked at that furnace in months. Do we need to fix that damn thing? Do we need a new one? Well, Johnstone Supply in Troy, they're the peeps that can hook you up. Just, they can make sure your home is heated properly, whether you need to get a brand new furnace or you need to change out filters. You can make sure you visit them because they're a family-owned and operated business for about the last 6 decades or so, serving upstate New York residents. You can visit them in their Troy store, which is on 6th Avenue in Troy, or you can give them a call, 518-272-5922. You can also follow them on Facebook, searching Johnstone Supply Troy. Whether it be George, Tom, anyone else on that staff, they'd be more than happy to answer any and all questions for you and to help you out. Again, that's Johnstone Supply in Troy, 6th Avenue in Troy, 518-272-5922. For JJ Alexander, I'm Brian Cady. Till next time, see ya, motherfuckers.
Later.